Yeah, I know. You're here for the business. And I'm here to give you that business. What's good, y'all? Soul here. And welcome back to the story mode. So, we've had a very similar conversation on this channel at least a couple of times now. But now that the Switch 2 is officially a reality that was shown off by Nintendo themselves, and that we're gonna get more of a glimpse of in just a couple of weeks from this point in time, I figured we may as well have this conversation, or at least something very similar, and maybe even a little more in depth, at least one more time. There is no shot in hell that Nintendo doesn't have another Smash game in the works. And I know, you may think I'm crazy to believe something like that, especially after something like Smash Ultimate, which is the penultimate entry to the series. What could be easily a finale to the series. But that would be insane, right? To just end it off there? I don't think that they would do something like that. Not one of their biggest sellers ever. Smash is too important to Nintendo for them to just completely drop it. And don't get me wrong, I'm fully aware that Nintendo, more than a lot of these other companies, do tend to put the games first more so than anybody. However, that doesn't mean that they can't be businessmen sometimes too. And Smash, getting rid of that, would be the dumbest business decision you could ever make as a company. Owning that IP is critical, and there's no way that they're not going to use it again. With Sakurai or without Sakurai, they're going to make it happen one way or another. Guaranteed. And so I stand before you to once again say that Smash on Switch 2, probably a little bit later in its lifetime, is likely inevitable. And I want to talk about a couple of hopes and wishes and things that just generally need to happen if and when the new Smash does eventually come out for Switch 2. You already know how it goes. I have a couple of things listed here that I would like to talk about in no particular order, by the way. But, you know how it goes. Now, personally, I think one of the most major things that absolutely needs to happen when reworking this new game is, when you're reworking who actually does make it into this next title, we need to talk about what franchises actually do deserve a little more representation, right? I do appreciate Smash Ultimate because it is literally the culmination of every Smash game that we've ever had and more. I love that a bunch of series got so much more representation than we ever thought that they would get, and I love that with all of my heart. I'm just simply in love with the fact that Final Fantasy VII, one of the biggest RPGs of all time, finally got a second character in Sephiroth, a villain of all things, right? That's so amazing, but that's just it. We need more stuff like that to happen in this next Smash game, especially with characters that I know for a fact, characters and franchises that definitely are not leaving Smash anytime soon. For example, we can make an entire video about this in particular, but the Sonic franchise is lacking severely. Sonic, no matter how you think about it, is a very iconic name. People know Sonic the Hedgehog. There's no getting around that. You could tell, I could tell my parents, hey, you know who Sonic the Hedgehog is? They'll be like, oh yeah, the blue guy. They know who Sonic is. Anybody who knows what video games are has a general idea of who Sonic is. And I think that it's very criminal, even if Sonic isn't, dedicated Nintendo, it's not their IP, that's not their character. Sonic and Mario grew up together. These boys were on the same streets, fighting the same fight. So much so that they got crossovers together. But you're gonna sit there and tell me that the only actual representation that Sonic deserves is him, maybe 2-3 stages, if that, and a couple of assist trophies? Two of the assist trophies being characters that are iconic to the franchise in Shadow and Knuckles? Are we insane? Are we crazy? What are we doing here? It is absolutely insane to me that since Brawl, since 2008, we have only had Sonic the Hedgehog. Why is that? Why is it that we've never seen Tails, Knuckles, Shadow, Amy, Metal Sonic, or Eggman as characters? What are we doing, y'all? These are some of the most important characters in the franchise's history, and you're telling me not a single other one of these characters could have been at least a fighter? They all had to be background characters. Eggman didn't even get the benefit of that. Eggman's just nowhere to be found. We got Green Hill Zone with I think Amy's in there. I know Tails, Knuckles, and Silver are back there. Shadow and Knuckles is in there twice, because at least he gets an assist trophy too, and he gets a little background cameo, but we couldn't get a second character for Sonic? That is bizarre. Bizarre to me, right? And of course, you know, as much as I appreciate the little bit of representation that we do have, as far as stages go, absolutely insane to me that we have Green Hill Zone and Windy Hill Zone from Lost World. I know that that was something that was like, you know, because of the, you know, the Nintendo deal that Sega had with them for the Wii U era, where they had to make exclusively a couple of games for the Wii U era. And, you know, in a way, it's iconic, but not really, right? When you think Sonic stages, you're not thinking Windy Hill, you're thinking Chemical Plant Zone. Solely on, like, you're thinking of a lot of other places well before you're thinking of Windy Hill, okay? I'm just putting that out there, man. I gotta be so honest with y'all. But of course, Sonic isn't the only one. Donkey Kong. And this isn't even coming from somebody who's a major Donkey Kong fan. But there's a lot of other characters that we could pick from outside of just Donkey Kong and Diddy Kong. Trixie Kong, Lanky Kong, Funky Kong. So Funky Kong has a board. You could at least make his moveset a little more unique too, you know what I mean? Like, there's so many different ways we could choose from this, okay? And we do have a good repertoire of Donkey Kong music. I feel like we could have utilized a couple of more Donkey Kong stages, you know, especially from, you know, the more recent games, Tropical Freeze and all that. I don't know, I just feel like, especially for another one of Nintendo's frontrunners, he gets very shafted a lot. His entire franchise just gets pushed to the wind a lot, and that's really, really sad. So I feel like a little more Donkey Kong representation the next time around could go a long way. Just putting that out there. Of course, you can't forget Zelda, because why in the world do we only have 3 Zelda characters? We know more than 3 Zelda characters who are very much capable of fighting. I can name 2 right off the bat. Impa would have gone absolutely crazy. And you cannot use the excuse, oh, Impa's an old woman, she can't fight. What are you talking about? We have seen her fight in Skyward Sword. We've seen her fight in Hyrule Warriors, which is definitely a design they could have utilized if they really wanted to. We have seen plenty of iterations of Impa that is capable of fighting, that can hold her own in Smash. And Impa, that's still a pretty iconic name. But even debatably more iconic, Midna. Midna is a fan favorite character. No shot in hell we don't utilize Midna outside of just an assist trophy. That's absolutely bizarre to me. Are we serious right now? I love Midna as a character, and I feel like a moveset for her, you could rip her entire moveset out of Hyrule Warriors. Easily. We could definitely make that work. I'm just saying. There's definitely plenty of Zelda representation that we have not seen yet. Tetra. You know what I'm saying? Tetra would be a very fun Pirate-esque character to go alongside Toon Link from the Wind Waker. You know what I'm saying? The champions would go absolutely crazy, especially with their rise in popularity over the last decade because of how popular they are. I feel like they would have been, I figured they would have been a shoo-in. You know what I'm saying? At least one of them for Smash Ultimate. But none of them ever made it anywhere. No assist trophies, no nothing. They're just gone to the wind. They just not even ever thought about again, which is absolutely insane to me. But I think that the champions would have been absolutely elite as characters and so much fun. Revali would go crazy as a Bowman. I'm just putting that on. I just think that would be super insane. And then the last 2, I'll be completely honest, I don't know as much about them as I would like to. But Street Fighter and Tekken, I do feel, I know that they were like later editions, but like those are the fighting game. Like when you think, oh, fighting games, you immediately think of 2 names. You think of Street Fighter and you think of Tekken. And those games getting underrepresented is crazy to me. Now, of course, Tekken I can make, you know, I can be a little more lenient about, but not really, right? Because we had Heihachi as a assist trophy for a long time, I believe. Am I tripping? Heihachi was an assist trophy in Smash 4, right? Heihachi was something in Smash 4. But not that Kazuya is a problem or anything like that. I love Kazuya, but I feel like not having more representation on the Tekken side is kind of crazy. But more importantly, the Street Fighter side. Guile, Chun-Li, Blanca, like, what are we doing here? Those are big misses. That's absolutely insane to me. Regardless, I could go on and on and on about all of the franchises that have been completely underrepresented in Smash Ultimate, but in reality, I just have to hope that if we are considering another Smash game, we are looking at the possibilities of what other characters could be added in from their respective series of games that are already definitely going to be represented in Smash, which always has been and always will be a culmination celebration of gaming. It's always been that way, and I feel like the best way to represent that is to make sure that the biggest names in gaming get their slice of the cake too. Specifically Sonic. I can't forgive that. Where? My boy hit Chaos Control. Where's Shadow? Okay, well, Shadow's gone. I'll find him. He's somewhere. You ain't sneaky, boy. That's crazy. Where did Shadow go? Alright, well, I'll find him. That boy running from me. The next thing that I have on my list here is the fact that a couple of very specific characters need desperate reworks to their movesets because they have been dated for the entirety of their time in Smash. I say that and I'm sure a couple of light bulbs went off for you guys. One of the first characters I'm thinking of is, of course, Mario. That boy has had the exact same very basic moveset for so long now, it absolutely hurts. Why do we not have more going on with him? Why does he not have a moveset with Cappy, which has become egregiously iconic in the last 7 to 8 years that Mario Odyssey has been a thing since the release of the Switch? Why don't we have a couple more movesets that incorporate his actual movements from the side-scrollers or 2D games, like his, hopping on top of enemies, which I know is, footstooling is a thing, but I feel like his specifically could be an attack that could, work something into a combo. You know what I'm saying? I feel like Mario Stomp is something that should be super important. That also goes for his Slam, which has been a major thing since Super Mario 64, which I feel isn't as incorporated or utilized as it should be. And if we're being so honest, Mario has had a lot of unique tools and gadgets and kits and things that could absolutely replace his water thing from Sunshine, right? Or at the very least, he could be using that way differently, especially because that move isn't all that great. Like, it's nice to have, I guess, but of his moveset, I feel like that's just not... I guess it is good against, the people that can't really survive off stage, like Little Mac and stuff like that, but I don't know. I just feel like we could definitely get a little more creative with Mario's moveset. Even more so, Sonic's moveset. Jesus Christ, his moveset feels so dated, it actually hurts, especially because a lot of his stuff doesn't even really apply all that much. I don't know. I just feel like we could be doing a lot more with his movesets. I love the homing dash and the spin dash attack, but we do have the drop dash, and that's cool and that's dandy and all. But I feel like his flashiness isn't as incorporated into that moveset as it could be, and I feel like we could definitely utilize some touch-ups. People have made plenty of mods on how to sauce up his moveset, his style, and I feel like we could definitely take that a long way. So definitely, just, again, plenty of people have already made the movesets, and that is precisely what I'm talking about. All you gotta do is look up Sonic moveset overhaul mod, and you'll definitely just get a glimpse of what I'm talking about, and you'll probably agree. And then, of course, you have characters like Ganondorf, who have gone through so many different redesigns and changes, and just so many other different things throughout the course of his time as a character in the Zelda franchise. It's crazy to me that we took a step... okay, again, I don't mind. I don't mind that he looks like his Ocarina of Time counterpart. That actually makes plenty of sense because that's one of his most iconic showings. However, I don't think it would be all that crazy if in this next game we were to have a situation in which we actually do have that Tears of the Kingdom, that dude. Okay, because that man is a certified demon. That boy is a samurai, and we should not... a beefy samurai while we're at it, you know what I'm saying? But we should definitely not be shafting that design, and we should absolutely be utilizing it to its fullest abilities because he is so badass. He is so damn cool, and I feel like we could absolutely be incorporating that style into a new Smash game with a new design and a fresh moveset. I don't think it would be all that crazy, especially because most of his moveset barely applies to him anyway. I would love to see a situation in which we get Calamity Ganon as his ultimate. That's not crazy to say, right? That's not insane. I just feel like we could definitely have a more fitting moveset. Of course, not like Pig Ganon is bad or anything like that, but just having him transform into Pig Ganon and just dashing across the screen when we have so many other like unique transformations and stuff from other characters like Little Mac, who, by the way, never has a transformation in his own game like that, by the way. That never happens, but he just turns into a beast for whatever reason in Ultimate, or since Smash 4 he's always had that moveset in that Ultimate, but regardless, you get what I'm getting at. That's the last example I'm going to show or talk about there because, you know, we could, again, run through the entirety of the list here, but we ain't got all day. But you get my picture. The next major one, and this is one I will not budge on, I will fight till my dying breath on this. We have to have a separate casual and ranked or competitive mode again, because you cannot lump the two together like that. That is not pleasant for anybody. Okay? The quick play aspect would be perfectly fine if it were actually quick play. There is absolutely no reason as to why every fight that I get into online that's not with my friends should immediately be a ranked match. Why does it need to be like that? Why is it that I am forced to search out lobbies and have to wait my turn in a lobby just to have a casual match? That's absolutely absurd. And that's if they don't, like, decide to kick me because I'm not who they're looking for or something like that. Which, you know, that doesn't happen or anything like that. But just as an example, that's kind of ridiculous and we shouldn't have something like that. For Glory and For Fun was perfect. We had our For Glory, which easily could have been our ranked mode in Smash 4 if we really wanted it to be, with an actual point system, with an actual ranking system. But I liked the fact that that was the mode where I could just hop in and I know I was getting into a fight. Like, that's where I knew I was going. You know what I'm saying? For Fun, in this case, in this next game, I would have loved for that to be the situation that we have now, where we choose our rule sets and things like that, how we prefer it, and that's where we go to actually practice characters and stuff like that, and then we take those characters over to our For Glory, hypothetical For Glory, once we're ready to utilize that character in a ranked setting, right? I don't think that that's insane, and I feel like we should definitely be separating those. I think making quick play into the ranked mode was absolutely insane. Don't know why we did that. I try not to pay attention to it anymore, but it definitely caused me to not pay as much attention to characters that I've already gotten into Elite Smash anymore, which is crazy because I got Sora into Elite Smash on day one. I've barely gotten the chance to play him since, and that's my that's my boy. That's my GOAT. What are we doing, gang? So, yeah, that's something that is critical that I will not be budging on, and that is just be all end all right there. We gotta have that. And then finally, something that, again, we have talked plenty about. I think actually one of the first videos that I've put out on this channel since rebranding it was talking about this very specific thing, and this is something that I still feel the exact same way up to this day, even though it's been like, what, 2 years or something like that. I want a proper story, and I get, you know, everybody wants a proper story mode since Subspace Emissary, and that's fair, that's totally fine. I really do feel like it shouldn't be underestimated how much we mean that when we say we actually need a genuine story mode for Smash, right? Because the thing with Ultimate was that World of Light was an utter disappointment, not because it wasn't a neat concept, but because in comparison to what we had on the Wii over a decade ago, was so much more interesting, right? And the problem here is that if you were to have blended these two aspects, it would have been perfectly fine. If we had an actual story with cutscenes that were leading us to different places, you know, every time we ran into a new character, you know, every time we had to battle them or whatever, and it would lead us into an event or things like that, you know, I'd be perfectly fine with that. Even if we did have the format that we did with World of Light, where we were doing very specific and unique challenges dedicated to a, you know, certain character, you know, a certain character reference from their respective world and things like that. We could have easily blended these two concepts and we would have easily had one of the best crossover stories of all time. And we just decided not to do that with Ultimate, and that really, really hurts me because they set us up crazy. They set us up they fooled us into thinking that we had a story mode with that opening to World of Light, because that is easily one of the most beautiful cinematics we have ever seen in a video game, and there is no story. That is the story. We see that, and we fight until we battle Galeem or Darkhan, and that is simply it. We were duped, bruh. I'm sick. I'm sick, gang, to my stomach. Long and short of it is, I think we actually do deserve a true and proper story mode. And it doesn't even need to be the craziest thing ever. As lazy as it probably would be, I'd be fine if we even delegated to art stills and text boxes at this point. Because I want to see these characters interact. That's the whole point of a crossover for me. That's one of the things I love so much about crossovers, is seeing characters interact. I want to see their personalities clash. I want to see how their stories get them to relate to one another. Their struggles, their fears, their hopes, their dreams, and their battles. I want to see how they work together. And we got something very much like that with Brawl, with Subspace Emissary. That was all of their personality. It was so good, we didn't even need dialogue. It was just all cutscenes. It was all drama. It was all action. And that was all we needed. So much so that we were still hung up on it decades later. And here we are with World of Light, nothing even remotely close to something like that. That was so disappointing. So with this new game, we gotta have a true story mode, and there's really no arguments to be had about that, because in a crossover like this one, that's what we want to see. We want to see how these characters interact with each other. We want Smash to have its own canon. Okay? We shouldn't be seeing bits and pieces of the fight, the story, the war that's going on through character introductions. That's insane. That's the only real bits and pieces of story that we get. Right? Am I tripping? Like, I don't know. I'm just... we could be doing so much more. So I really, really, really hope that of all the things that I've talked about so far, that gets considered the most. Okay? So, I mean, we've had Smash Ultimate for 7 years now, something like that. So, really, really, really hope that they're considering it. Really hope that they're considering it if they are in development for a new Smash game. Which, again, I just can't put that past them. I'm not even trying to get my hopes up. I just do truly believe that they do have another Smash game in the works, and it's probably going to take a long time, but honestly, I'm totally fine with that. I guess we'll have to play that one by ear. So I think I've rambled on a good amount now. Oh my god, almost 30 minutes. But it's definitely going to be shortened by the time you guys see it. So regardless, I've said enough, and I'm going to pass the mic over to you guys, and I want you guys to tell me what you guys are thinking down below. Do you feel the same way as me? Do you think that some characters could use more representation from their series? Do you think that a lot of these characters could use moveset reworks? Like, you know, who else are you thinking of that could use reworks and things like that? Are you also under the impression that we should absolutely be getting a true blue story mode for this next Smash game? And do you actually even believe in the possibility of a new Smash game coming to Switch 2? Or are you on the opposing side? You don't think that a new Smash game is inevitable by any means. You think that Ultimate was the be-all, end-all of it, and Sakurai has moved on to bigger and better, and Nintendo actually isn't worried about that at all. Tell me everything that you guys are thinking in the comment section below, because you know for a fact that I'm always, always, always down there with you guys. But with that, yes sir, it does appear to be Skedaddle o'clock, so I'm going to go ahead and do just so. I'd like to thank you guys ever so much for watching. I truly do hope you enjoyed. Do me the greatest favor of dropping a like and a comment, and consider subscribing for more content just like this here. And with that, I'm gone. So thanks again, hope you enjoyed, and I'll be seeing you guys in the next video. Do me the greatest favor of taking good ass care, and I'll see you all next time. Bye!